Hey, how's it going? Oh, me? Oh, man, if I was any better, I wouldn't know what to do. My name is Jacob Stiefel. This is the Don't Stifle Me podcast. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad we're both here doing what we're doing right now at this very moment. But before we get started, before we go too much further, in case you didn't know, I'm a singer-songwriter myself, along with being a podcast host. I've got music on iTunes and wherever else you kids are getting your music these days. I also have merchandise and tour dates at jacobstiefel.com. That is JACOBSTIEFEL.com. Now, coming up, let's see, I've got this Thursday, June 8th. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Friday, June 9th in Gunnersville, Alabama. Saturday, June 10th in Noonan, Georgia, and next Saturday, June 17th in Macon, Georgia. If you're around any of those areas, please come hang out. The venues and other info is all at jacobstiefel.com. I'd love to see you there. In the meantime, here's today's show.
Pick it up the piano.
Episode 14. My guest today is my Georgia buddy, Mr. Ben Ratliff. Ben is currently tour manager for the stand-up comic Ralphie May, and he's also working with country artists Brent, Cobb, and Dave Kennedy. Man, he's a good old boy. We had a good old talk. We had a good time here at the house, hanging out, picking on some guitars. And so here we are. Here's my talk with Ben Ratliff. So if you were to meet somebody on the street and they ask what you do, what you are, what's your position, what would you tell them?
I just tell people I work in the music industry.
Yeah.
Because it's so broad and so vast that like I said, any day of the week, depending on if I'm doing, Ralphie May stuff or Brent Cobb stuff or Dave Kennedy stuff, it's all different. So it's just a kind of a generalization of...
Yeah, is it more, because some days it's probably tour manager, some days it's artist manager, some days it's babysitter, some days,
Yeah, and then some days it's like, trying to book shows, and some days it's like, trying to get people pub deals and trying to network and...
Trying to wrangle down the club owner and get the money from them.
Chasing money. God, I hate that.
So how did you... We'll wrap around all back to it, but explain... loosely to someone, and I know there's a lot that goes into it, but to somebody that's listening that's not familiar with tour manager or whatever, can you explain kind of what a tour manager or / artist manager does?
Yeah, man. So tour management is basically there's a term called herding cats, and it's used a lot in the business because you've got a band, and depending on even like club level band where it's just a tour manager and a band who wears many hats. I've been sound guy and stage manager and production manager and guitar tech all at the same time under the tour manager thing,
right?
But it's just advancing all the shows, making sure you show up on time, making sure everything's there, making sure the production team knows what's going on, and
making sure the drummer wakes up and
making sure the drummers don't forget their suitcase in Minnesota, and making sure the guys know where food is and what time they need to be at the stage.
It's an amazingly important job that people don't realize that it even really exists.
Because it's you are a different artist of anybody that I've ever met, because most artists would lose their head if it wasn't connected 3 feet above their their ass. So it's kind of that's where the babysitting comes in,
Yeah.
And you got your shit together, which is
I try
odd for an artist.
Yeah, it's I think it comes from just not being able to afford it to pay somebody. No, it comes from my parents. They're good people and they raised me well. But yeah, most musicians and artists that I know need that responsible manager role,
a director,
to get them,
point them in the right direction.
Because once you get them on stage, they're fantastic. Hopefully, But they need somebody to get them there.
Until that point, they're like a lost dog just roaming around.
Herding kittens and herding cats is the best.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people out there like picture trying to herd and get 15 cats to go in one direction. That's about what it's like.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a very good description. I don't know who coined that or where it came from, but job well done, whoever that was.
So where are you from? Where does Ben Ratliff hail from?
I am from Zebulon, Georgia, a little small
no
town.
idea where that is.
It's about 15 minutes south of Griffin, which is about an hour or so south of Atlanta. One red light town, one high school.
Yeah.
Grew up out in the country.
Born and raised
there. Born and raised there, and graduated high school there, and then started playing in bands and started running sound.
So like people that don't know, like you also play and you.
Yeah, I don't
and sing.
Not so much anymore. I still like to write occasionally when I have time, but I mean that's how this whole thing got started. I was an artist, and then, I was in a band, and then I started running sound and kind of production managing.
You mean you didn't wake up at 8 years old and think, man, music seems fun, but I bet babysitting musicians and artists, I bet that's really fun.
No, it's kind of crazy because I was, when I was leaving college, I got a job with this Beatles tribute band that were some friends of mine, The Return, who's still out there, doing it. They've been doing it for 25 years, and they're awesome. One of the best Beatles tribute bands in the world. I went out on the road with them and kind of started running sound and basically just was a sponge and absorbed, like, okay, this is how you make money in this, because playing in high school bands, you don't know. You're doing everything for free. And so I did that, and then I started my own band, and then did that for a while, and I had a 5-piece band and played a lot and did a lot of fraternity shows. And
so that was college?
And after college, and then that's when...
Where'd you go to school? Did you go to college somewhere?
I went to Truett McConnell in Watkinsville, which is basically Athens. And I don't even think it's there anymore. I think they shut it down. So I think I may have...
Retired to school.
I may have just shut it down. Like, who needs this?
Yeah.
And I didn't finish. It was to the point where they kept saying, you need to figure out what you want to do. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, especially at that age.
A lot of people have been working for 20 years and still don't know what they want to do when they grow up.
And so it's like, and my brother was he went to Princeton and got 4-year degrees, and then he joined the military. Now he flies airplanes. And I'm like, so what'd you go to college for? You got all this student loan debts anyway. College is a good thing, though, people. I'm just not
sometimes
it ain't for me.
Sometimes it's a good thing. Yeah. Sometimes you need to go work.
Yeah. So and I ran into my buddies in the Beatles band when I was working at Mellow Mushroom in Athens.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, you know how to run sound? I'm like, yeah. You want to come out on the road with us? I was like, yes, I do.
Yeah. As a matter of fact.
So did that for a couple of years, and then started playing shows and put a band together, and got double booked on a show with a guy named Brent Cobb down in Georgia. And
is that how that started?
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. And so we ended up playing the show together, solo acoustic, both of us. And
how long ago was that?
It's 2017 now. Maybe 2012, 2011.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while, but not too long ago.
Yeah.
I
thought you'd been in the Brent Cobb scene longer than that.
It could have been. It's been a crazy couple years.
It feels like 40 years.
Yeah. I mean, it was because of, we did that. I was with Brent for about 2 years before Lila was born. And she's 2 now. So,
that's about right.
It feels
like that. Yeah.
so
y'all got double booked at a show?
So we got double booked, and then so we played the show, and we just sat there and drank beer and hung out and became good buddies. And then
Brent's good at that. You're good at that. So
we just hit it off, and at the time too, I was kind of winding down the band, and had a guy named Matt McDaniel playing with me who plays everything.
Oh yeah.
And Brent's manager called me and said, "Yeah, Brent's guitar player just quit." And I was like, Matt was wanting to get out on the road, and I was just wanting to write and get off the road. So I called Brent. I was like, don't hire anybody. Got your guy.
Yeah.
And so I sent Matt out with Brent. And about 2 or 3 months later, I get a call about 3 in the morning. And Brent was wanting me to come out and be his tour manager. He's like, man, you seem to know what you're doing. And I was like, all right, let me figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into tour management.
Nice.
And
so that was the first time that.
yes, technically, like with the title. Because at first, and I had a guitar player, or actually my old keys player who lives in Venice Beach, California now. He told me one time, he goes, "Man, you make a good tour manager." And I was like, "What in the world is that?" He's like, "It's just what you do." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, Chance has told me that for years because, I mean, until an artist or band or whatever can hire a tour manager, somebody's got to do all those things.
Or nothing gets done.
Right, yeah. And so I've been doing that for years now. The toughest part to me is like before the show, is like the 30 minutes to an hour before the show, especially those last like 15 to 30 minutes, because I have to go from all day I've been tour manager Jacob, and I have to like switch that off and turn on artist, performer, entertainer Jacob.
And dude, I couldn't do that. That's why I would be on stage playing and singing, fronting this 5-piece band, going, "Oh shit, where's this at?" You know?
Yeah. Oh, so unprofessional.
Take it easy.
Yeah, my fog hat ringer. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're doing a podcast, it's best to turn your ringer off. I caught that laptop before it went. Yeah. Real world, folks. It's the real world.
Jacob Stiefel is synced up, guys.
I told Ben, surprised me. He came in early today, and I haven't had near enough coffee, but we're good now.
Oh yeah,
we're good. So you got in with Brent, tour managing for the first time. So how long you were doing that for a couple of years before?
Did that for a couple of years, and then when he was having it right before his baby was born, he took a break and wanted to get back on writing and be a daddy, and he hooked me up with Drake White. And I went out with Drake for a couple of years, and then
how was that? What all stuff did you do with Drake?
Oh man, we did a lot of cool stuff. We did about 20 dates with Skinnerd, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Did a lot of stuff with Blackberry Smoke, Zach Brown Band, Little Big Town.
What kind of show? I mean, I guess those were probably mostly like arena amphitheater.
Yeah, I mean,
shows.
it was like I started with Drake in a van and a trailer, and we were doing clubs and little music venues and some little bars, and then moved up and did everything from arenas to amphitheaters to stadiums. And so I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. And then I left Drake about a year and a half ago, and started the management company, and kind of took off running. And then about a year ago, met Ralphie May, and been handling him ever since.
Yeah, Ralphie's a comedian for people who don't know. Very funny man. We went to see him in Vegas last week. So where'd you meet Ralphie? How'd that come about?
A buddy of mine who used to be Brent's booking agent at William Morris called me one day, and he goes, "Hey man, are you what you got going on?" And I'm like, "I mean, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, nothing steady." And he goes, "Would you be willing to go out with Ralphie May?" And I'm like, "Sure, I'll look into it." I didn't know who he was. I mean, I had to Google him, and which he's been a comedian for 27 years and got like.
Most people know him from was it Last Comic Standing?
Yeah, he was like runner-up on Last Comic Standing some years ago. And like I said, I never really followed comedy, so I've learned all this in the past year.
Yeah.
And he's got like a bunch of specials on Netflix and Comedy Central and HBO and Showtime. And
I didn't really know much about him until the last, I guess probably maybe since you started working with him, I guess. And I'd heard the name, but.
Yeah, he's been around for a while, and he's done a lot of cool stuff. And so I just kind of looked him up, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I went and met him, and he's one of the nicest guys on the planet.
He was super nice. We went over while Chance and our buddy Cody and I were in Vegas last week. We stopped by and saw Ben at Ralphie May's house, and he was super nice.
Dude, he's the best. One of the best dudes I've ever met.
He's like, "Y'all gonna hang out? Y'all gonna party? What are you gonna do?"
Yeah. He's like,
"Make yourself at home.
Bourbon and beer." And
yeah.
You hungry?
I had some good whiskey. It was good stuff.
Yeah. So that kind of came about through a buddy at William Morris, and been doing it for a little over a year now, and got that Vegas residency for the next couple years. And
yeah, I was going to ask about what kind of stuff did you do with him starting out? Was it on the road or was
dude. I mean, that guy does like 280 shows a year.
Whew.
It's crazy. He owns his own bus, and we'd go hit a comedy club up and do 5 shows in 3 days, and then or we'd go do theaters and do, back in December we did like 27 shows in 30 days, and they were all theaters all over the frozen tundra.
That's a lot of standing up and sitting down and standing up and sitting down and talking to people.
Yeah, it's that was in our our booking agent at William Morris put us through the Christmas tour through. It started in North Carolina, and we went up to New York, came all the way across to like Nebraska, up to North Dakota, over to Minnesota and Wisconsin in December, and it was miserable.
Oh,
everything on the bus froze, like plumbing.
Oh man,
it was so cold. So it was a lot of fun, but yeah, we stayed bundled up. And
so at what point because now he's got the residency at the Harrah's, is that right?
Yeah. He's at Harrah's in
when
the
did
showroom.
That come along?
We started at the end of January, like January 26th. So we got word of it.
So it's a recent,
fairly new. Yeah. So we've been there. We stayed in Harrah's for the first month, and it was like being in prison. And then we got the house, and the house is awesome, as you saw. It's pretty little vacation spot. And so they just gave him an extension for 2.5 more years because everything's going good.
He said, now we went to the show while we were out there, and he said at one point that he's one of 4 comedians that have ever had Vegas residencies.
Yeah, on the Strip. Yeah, they've had some like off the Strip and everything. But, it's kind of like,
do you know who the other ones were?
I don't.
I was trying to think, but I would have thought that there would have been more. But
I want to say maybe like Don Ritter may have been one of them, and like the old school guys, like
Rickles.
Rickles, yeah. He may have been one, and then there was some lady that I can't remember.
That guy was so funny.
Oh yeah,
when he passed away, and everybody was posting videos of like all his highlights throughout the years with the Dean Martin roasts and stuff. So good. Did Ralphie ever do those roasts? Does he ever do those?
He has. I'm
not a big fan of the roast. I'm gonna be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I just I guess because I'm such a positive person.
that is so negative.
Yeah, and I get it. I get the whole like we're gonna. That's the point of the thing. It's kind of like going to Dick's Last Resort restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody out there has been to one of those before, but
everybody's so mean.
The point is that they're dicks to you. They're assholes. And like I went to one of somebody's birthday party because I wouldn't go because somebody would say, "Hey, we're going to Dick's. You want to go eat?" What is that? Well, it's this place you go eat, and they're smart asses to you and mean. Well, that sounds awful. I don't want to go to that. Pay to go be mean, somebody be mean to me. But I went for a birthday party one time to see how it was, and the guy was taking our order, and he said I was going to get a beer. I was like, "Hey, do y'all have Busch Light or whatever?" I asked for some kind of beer, and he said, "I don't know. Why don't you turn around and look at the sign and see what it says?" I haven't been back since. I ate and drank my beer and left.
Yeah, I think I've only been there once, and that was years ago.
So that's kind of how I feel about the roast. I get the point of it, and some people might enjoy it, but I wouldn't want to. I don't want to be mean to people or have people be mean to me.
Oh yeah, we did just a few weeks back. They had the Wild West Comedy Festival here in Nashville, and Ralphie was roasting John Esposito, who's the head of Warner Brothers Records. Which I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be weird because Ralphie is kind of on par for the not being a fan of the state of country music, as a lot of people are. And so he's roasting the head of one of the biggest record labels in town, who's been a big, heavy player for a long time.
Yeah.
And Ralphie just tears into him. Like
talking about music?
Talking about music and just talking about his 25-year-old wife and just I wish I would have filmed it. It was so funny that and so offensive, but
the people that go there, the people that go to these things have to know. You have to know when you walk in that door that anything is up for grabs. You can be
no holds barred.
Yeah.
And as hard as Ralphie went on when he got off stage, Esposito walked right up to him and gave him a hug and told him how great he was. And I was just like,
that's crazy. And as much as poets and songwriters and musicians and people can tell the truth and write about the truth and things that are uncomfortable or whatever, comedians are like 10 times above that. They can say and do anything, and
it's like shock and awe factor, like it's like they can get away with stuff because they say it with a smile on their face. I guess. I don't know, it blows my mind. I mean, the same stuff Ralphie can say and being loved for, you and I would, I think we talked about this in Vegas.
Talked about that. Yeah.
Like
I can't run around saying faggot all the time.
Yeah.
But like he says it in a joke, and it's, I don't know, I guess because even if you were a gay person that went in there, most of whom, most gay people, I believe, if they were going to a comedy show, would understand that what they heard is not somebody being mean.
And the gay and lesbian community love him. I mean, they come to the meet and greets afterwards and hug him, and they sit there and tell dirty jokes to each other, and it's mind blowing. And but two boys from the South say the same thing, like
lock them up.
Yeah,
it's super interesting to me, and I want to talk either with Ralphie or I'd like to get either Nate Bargatze here from lives here in Nashville, or somebody. I want to talk with some comedians because it's super interesting the parallels between stand-up comedy career and a career in music, as far as a band or an artist or whatever, because it's basically kind of the same thing. You got to go on the road, and get your name out there, and
it's a lot similar. But it's still a different beast. And it's kind of hard to explain because, coming off the road from doing what I was doing and getting on the road with Ralphie, it was like, it's not. I mean, our days don't start at 8:00 in the morning like they do in the music world. They start at like 5 p.m. So there's a lot more downtime, and you can actually day drive if you wanted to, because most of the venues are 3 or 4 hours apart.
Yeah.
If you're out doing a steady tour. But, I'm so used to driving at night, then it's like you get there and then you got all day just to kind of hang out and do whatever, which is nice.
Yeah. Instead of having to shuffle around music venues and musicians and bands and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like we get there and, you load in, you got merchandise, same as you do with music, and you got a little bit of a production. There's no sound check or nothing because there's no monitors, just one microphone.
So I didn't even think about monitors. So they just hear themselves.
Yeah. They just
out in the theater.
Some guys, some people do prefer to have wedges on stage, but Ralphie doesn't. He said it throws a delay or something and kind of messes them up.
Personal preference, I'm sure.
Yeah. And none of our openers use it either. They just grab a microphone and walk out and talk, So it's.
Do y'all carry an opener with you when you go on the road, or do you get like a local person, or how does that work?
For the most part, Ralphie's MO is he's such a nice dude that he literally wants to help out everybody and up and coming comedians and everybody. So he'll throw a comedian on the bus, and he'll pay them more than they could get paid doing other. He takes care of them. He puts it in his contract where they pay him this much money, and so he takes real good care of them, and they don't have to pay for food or nothing like that. So, or travel, So he usually, if we're on a bus, he takes them with him. Like Vegas, Gabe Lopez, who's awesome. He's a local guy who does comedy shows in Vegas as well. He's doing that whole residency. And then if we go to L.A., he'll get some L.A. comics to come out and open. But very rarely he's ever worked with anybody he'd never met before.
So I guess through the time with him, you've gotten to meet anybody that he works with and does stuff with or whatever.
Yeah,
who are some of the cooler or more memorable comedians and people you've gotten to meet? And
the Smash Brothers are real good friends of mine now. They're LA-based twins that super funny, super dirty, but really good guys. Rocky Del Davis is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a good, funny dude. They've done opening. Kelsey Cook's an opener. And then, we've met and hung out with like Joey Diaz and Joe Rogan and all those guys too. Yeah. Seeing them just go out to L.A. and hang out at the Comedy Store. It's just everybody's there.
Yeah, we were out there last week, and I wanted to go to the Comedy Store but I wanted to go because I really wanted to see Joe Rogan and/or Bill Burr, Mark Maron, any of those guys that drop in. But the show that Rogan was on that night was sold out, and
I couldn't get you tickets. I'm sorry.
Well, it's all right. I didn't let you know in time. That's my fault. But he was going to be, after his set there, he was going to be at the Improv. So I could get tickets at the Improv. So I went there instead. So I saw Rogan, Kevin Nealon, Nikki Glazer, Theo Vaughn.
Strong.
Few, 2 or 3 people that I didn't know. But it was like 6 or 8 people. And it was, they each did their 15 minutes.
It's right down the street, too. It's not like you had to go anywhere.
Yeah, it was really cool. I've just in the last year or two, couple years, since really getting into listening to Joe Rogan and Maron's podcast and everything, and noticing how similar the comedy and music world are, I've started to get into listening to more comedians and the lesser known people or whatever. But
you've been listening to Wheeler Walkers?
I haven't listened to his new stuff yet.
You listened to his podcast?
Oh, the podcast? No, I haven't listened to that yet. We were talking about it the other night, but I haven't.
He just put out episode 3. I haven't listened to it yet either.
I know Chris Stapleton was on the first one. Who was the second?
Chris Stapleton was the first one. The second one was...
well, let's see. Let's just... we could...
Let me pull it up. I know Billy Joe Schaefer was the third one. Let's see here.
Yeah, we're looking at devices, people. How's everybody doing out there in your real world stuff? Wherever you're listening to this, maybe it's at the gym, maybe it's in the car on the way to work, on the way home from work. Hope you smile and be nice to someone today. How's that for some?
Bill Burr was the second one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go listen. to that.
You got to, man.
Yeah, I was listening to his podcast before you got here this morning. Yeah, that guy. Wheeler Walker. If y'all don't know Wheeler Walker Jr., you should go listen to this. It's just
so funny.
Yeah. You can't even describe it other than just go listen to it. Just go read the song titles from his album.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll want to listen to it. And I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but I'm sure it's great. Oh yeah, but it was really cool. It was awesome to me to go to the Improv because I walked in. I was by myself, just hanging out. My Chance and Cody were somewhere else, and they walked me in. I had my ticket, and I might or might not have had half of a special California cookie.
Yeah.
So I was feeling good, and so they walked me in. I wasn't driving, folks. I got a lift there, and I walked up to the stage, and they set me right next to the stage, like I was in that front row, whatever. And
you're a target.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't. Luckily, I wasn't right in front. I was like around the corner on the side. Okay. So the whole time they weren't looking at me. There was a few times Nikki Glazer looked at me, and I fell in love.
Oh, dude, yeah, she's a looker.
While she was, I'm saying something terribly dirty or something. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool to be that close to. It sounds weird. It sounds fanboy of me, but. Rogan, like I've listened to and watched the YouTube videos and stuff for years now, and he was like, from me to you, just talking, bullshitting,
just a normal dude.
Yeah, it's the coolest. One of the coolest things about getting into the entertainment world and the music and whatever else is that everybody's just people.
Yeah, it is.
The most like famous people that I've met are just like sitting talking to you.
Yeah,
guys.
And the ones that have all the security and stuff, it's almost like they have it for their own good instead of the protection from others because they need more direction.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, Ron White's a key factor. He goes everywhere and he's got people with him.
I've heard him on a few different podcasts. He seems like he'd be an interesting guy to hang out with. Have y'all spent any time with him?
A little bit. His tour manager and I have befriended each other. And I talk to him more often than I see Ron. But him and Ralphie are good buddies, and so whenever they're around, we always try and get together and hang out. But
cool. So, I would think being a tour manager, it would be like being almost like in a fraternity. So you meet another tour manager that's been through some shit, and you're like, yeah, I feel you.
Oh yeah, yeah. We all have an understanding of the amount of shit that we've been through,
Yeah.
And which most of it's self-inflicting from just the road and whatever. But
so do you miss playing, like being on stage and doing that part of it?
Man, I don't really. I got to when I was with Drake, I'd sound check for him and got to jam with the band on pretty big stages, and of course nobody was there, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, City Field, Met Stadium, being able to sound check and jam some songs with his band was a lot of fun. But I really don't, man. I don't have to worry about remembering lyrics anymore, and I mean it was fun when it lasted, and I still enjoy it, and I still
How
get
long
up and
did
do
you do that before? Like, how long were you playing?
Well, from college to probably about 8 years, and then I played in bands before that too, and in college too. So I mean, I was always playing. Wasn't a front man until after college.
Okay.
And so I did it for about 8 years before I got into moved on to the other side.
So your passion, or what you just wanted to be like involved.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
music somehow.
I figured out when I first started working with Brent, I took more pride in making stuff happen than actually being the guy doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
And that's kind of like where I was like, all right, cool, I don't want to do this. And my wife was like, I can't believe you don't like singing anymore. I'm like, I can sing in the shower, you know?
Yeah. It's part of life.
Yeah.
You kind of your goals and your aspirations and your passions not necessarily change, but evolve.
Yeah.
As time goes on.
And I still, I've produced a couple projects and still love getting in the studio, and I do it as much as I can, and so it's like going in there and being able to work on harmonies and in different stuff. So it's still fun to create, but
yeah.
I just don't have to go out and do it anymore. I don't have to sell it anymore.
Right. It's definitely sales.
Yeah.
So you're still working with Brent too?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
you're
still
with Ralphie full time.
Yes.
But also working with Brent.
Yeah. I manage Brent's whole tour in the U.S. And advance everything, and then show up when I can, and
yeah.
And we've been hiring people to cover basically the babysitting part of it, which there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, I advance everything, and I put it in the master tour and try and answer everybody's questions before they get asked. And
yeah. So what's master tour for those people out there?
Master tour is it's basically a database, I guess would be the proper word for it.
It's like an app website.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, I think it's like $50 a month, but it holds, you load all your hotel information, your travel information, your daily schedules, and everything.
All your itineraries, and show locations, and just everything. Yeah,
and all the band guys that download the app, and they get synced into it. So whenever they have a question, I'm just like, look in your master tour.
Yeah.
And my job is to make sure the answers are there.
When I first started going on the road, for the first while, I think every weekend I printed out itineraries, and I would email them. I still do it from time to time, but for the while I did it every weekend. I would print them out and email them, and
Nobody had it.
Oh yeah, if they had it, it was sitting under the van seat, and they'd be like, "Hey, what time we playing again tonight? Where are we playing tomorrow?" And finally I was just like, let's quit it.
When you go, I was out with Brent on the first 3 days of the Stapleton tour, and it's like as soon as you walk up to the back of the venues, there's sign posted everywhere where it's like catering here, dressing rooms here. Then you get in the dressing room and you still have to print off one, stick it on the wall so the band guys will know what's going on, because you can't rely on them to look at a device.
Right. Yeah, Chance, my cousin Chance, when he first started working with Jason Isabel, who he's with now, because they were on two different buses. Like right when he started, they started doing two buses, where Jason and Amanda, his wife, and their kid were all on one bus with the tour manager, and then the rest of the band and crew were on the other bus, and that was where Chance was. So Chance at first was kind of in charge of putting up signs, like you're talking about backstage, and where catering is, where the bathrooms are, and this and that. And I got tickled. He was talking about what he does is he just gets off the bus, and then he thinks, all right, if I was a 12-year-old, where would I look?
Yeah.
If I wanted to know where the bathroom was,
Yep.
And you put it there.
Yeah.
That's where the sign goes.
So true.
Correlating to musicians. So you're still working with Brent while you're working with Ralphie, but you're also doing stuff with Dave, right?
Yeah.
Dave Kennedy.
Yeah, Dave Kennedy is
He's a singing son of a bitch.
Man, golly.
What's the song he has about the wine? It's
$3 wine?
Yeah, $3 wine.
Oh, man, yeah.
So good.
That dude, I met Dave at Tin Roof at Revival one night, and he gets up to sing, and there's 50 to 75 people in there, kind of all just talking or whatever, and that dude starts singing, and you could hear a pin drop. Everybody just shut up, and I was just like, whoa. And I went up and talked to him. That dude had, no representation at all, and I'm like, let me help you out.
Yeah.
And so me and Chad Fowler, my business partner, we kind of scooped him up, and he's still out on tour with Drake White and the Big Fire, and just got back from Key West from the Songwriters Festival. And
and I would think you working with Dave has nothing to do with him being out with Drake, right?
No, not at all. I mean, it really it didn't.
I was joking. I was being sarcastic.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way. Dave's great. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I just mean like that's how things work. You see Dave, he's a badass singer. You know that Drake is going to be out.
Yeah.
I thought maybe.
Well, and I would have, if actually Drake actually called Dave personally.
Oh, that's cool.
I think Phil, Drake's bass player, came over to the house one day and was hanging out, and Dave's been around Nashville for a while. Him and Drake had been buddies for
I've played
years.
rounds with him at Revival at Tin Roof for off and on for years.
And he, they used to hang out back when I don't know if you were around or remember when Drake used to do his Alabama Line thing at Blue Bar.
Blue Bar.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the first time I saw Drake.
Yeah.
Was there, yeah.
And so Dave was back hanging out in those days too.
Okay.
And so we just done this record, a little EP for Dave. And when Phil came over to the house, I was like, dude, you heard Dave's new EP? So I played it for him. And then it seems like a couple days later, Drake just called Dave and was like, dude, I'm going to take you out. And so
it's awesome. I didn't mean that Dave didn't deserve to be out there. Like I'm not trying to start shit or anything. Dave's
I had nothing to do with it.
So what are you doing with him now? You're representing him. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, just so I'm his manager. Chad and I are managing Dave, and so we're working on getting a new booking agent, working on getting him a pub deal, and trying to keep him busy and keep him on the road and keep the momentum going.
So while you're working on getting a booking agent, are y'all, helping book?
Yeah.
Here and there?
We're just a little here and there. Being a booking agent is not something that I ever want to do or be, because that's it's
terrible.
It's a full-time job.
It's awful. It's worse than engineering school.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So but we putting some stuff together to keep him, in the light, I guess.
When you got here this morning, I was doing some emailing a bar in Macon, Georgia. I got a show there in a month or two.
Crazy
I'm emailing
Bull?
back and forth. Hummingbird.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm playing there end of June and emailing back and forth with him about an opener. I was supposed to be playing a show in Nashville this Friday night here at the Sutler. Well, I posted about it yesterday afternoon, and the Sutler guy who's now doing booking at the Sutler emailed me and said, "Hey man,
The new guy."
Yeah, the new guy that I don't know because I booked this show with the guy who was doing booking 4 months ago."
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just shit like that. Just every day. It's always something. So I had to text my band and be like, "Hey guys, sorry, we're not playing Friday."
Yeah.
And take the post down off the Facebook. But yeah, someday I'll have somebody that just deals with all that for me.
Yeah, and the way you do that is just play shows in Nashville and keep doing and just you just got to start blowing up people and be like, come see me, and really a good booking agent is I've always called them your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah,
because
you want somebody that honestly believes in you, and because otherwise, if they're just doing it for their percentage, then you want somebody that believes in what you're doing.
Because you can get a booking agent, and them not be a believer, and then you're just another number on their roster.
Yeah, I know plenty of guys that are signed under whatever William Morris or whatever agency you want to name, but if they don't have somebody that believes in what they're doing and is pushing them, they're just going to sit on the shelf and play 3 shows a year or something.
Or they keep just putting them in this circuit, just spinning their wheels and not really growing and developing, which I've been in situations like that with some artists where it's like you go out and you play shows, and every time they book you in a city with some honky tonk or whatever, there's like Jason Aldean's playing a mile down the road, and so you end up playing for nobody.
Yeah, I've done it.
And so you can get in that rut rather, and it's like you're better off not playing at all.
It's so easy to. I know in this life, and I would assume in other areas of careers too, but it's so easy to get stuck in spinning your wheels somewhere and not doing it. I try to always be able to step back from myself and look in the mirror and be like, hey, is this going where I want to be going? Is this doing what I want to be doing? Is it working? Or am I still doing what I was doing 2 years ago?
Yeah.
If so, something's got to change.
Yeah.
Let's
try and be proactive here and make positive changes and go in the right direction. And it's always like that. I mean, no matter. I mean, even I'm sure people in like the Zach Brown camp are still like looking like, all right, what can we do different for this new record? Yeah. And I mean, they're still going to sell out stadiums, but it's like you can't do the same thing over and over again because even though it works, it's still like it gets old to people, and you can oversaturate the market or whatever, and then you're kind of going backwards instead of forward. So
what's Dave got going on? He's still out with Drake right now?
Yeah, he's got a few more weeks of the Drake tour. He just got back from Key West from the Songwriters Festival, and
so you still pretty close with Drake and all those guys?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. I mean, we all stay so busy. I mean, I played golf with the drummer last week, and I still talk to Matt, the guitar player.
It is golf weather. I'm about to wish I could get on the course.
It's almost too hot.
It is. It's getting there. Yeah.
I didn't play this week for the first time in about a month, and I can tell because my back is still stove up from spending 8 hours a week on an airplane.
Oh yeah.
But
Ben here. Ralphie May, the comedian he works for, is stationed in Las Vegas. Or in the station. What is he? It's kind of like he's stationed, but
pretty much.
He has the residency at Harrah's, and they gave him a house in Vegas to stay in when he's there. But where does he live? Where's his house?
His house is here in Nashville in 12 South.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he's from here.
So does he fly back and forth too?
Not like I do.
Yeah. So Ben,
I fly back every. I'm in Nashville Mondays and Tuesdays, pretty much all day, and then I fly in on Sunday and I fly out on Wednesday, just about every week.
Man, that's not just the flight. What the flight's like 3.5, 4 hours.
4 hours, yeah.
Not just that. The bitch of it to me is the time
difference,
and it's just 2 hours, but still that 2 hours makes a big difference. Because when I was out there last week, I kept thinking, man, it's so late, but it's only like 10 o'clock here or 9 o'clock here, whereas back here it's almost midnight.
Yeah, I woke up at 6:30 this morning, and I looked at my watch and kind of got up and got moving, and I was like, man, it's only 4:30 in Vegas.
There's people that haven't been to sleep yet.
Yeah, I'm usually going to bed about this time. Yeah. It's tough because I mean Ralphie's shows are at 10 o'clock Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then on Friday, Gabe, our opener, he hosts the Dirty at 12:30 show at the South Point, which is so much fun. If anybody's ever out there, you need to go to South Point at 12:30 for the Dirty show.
Friday nights?
On Friday nights. Yeah. And so we go to the Dirty and hang out just about every Friday. And, I mean, we walked out of the South Point going home, and the sun was coming up Saturday morning, and I was just like, damn.
I remember when I first moved to Nashville, I saw many of those mornings when I played downtown. Especially one year I lived on 2nd Avenue. Ooh. It was a very blurry year.
Yeah.
But I remember several times walking out and the sun be coming up like, oh, no.
It makes you just like go, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. I thought that a few times.
I get mad at myself every time I see the sun come up. I'm like, you're 36 years old. You're too old for this shit.
Yeah. So the Ralphie and them, they party get pretty wild over there? Does it's tame, or what is it like?
It's pretty tame. I mean, most comics, they're more into the weed and not the other drugs that keep you up. So everybody's pretty low key, but it's like, I mean, it's fun. We just sat around and we drank beer.
He had a funny bit. I'm not going to give away the bit, but it was about heroin.
Oh yeah,
that bit he does.
Dude, it's crazy because it's a huge thing in Vegas now too. And
Heroin?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that heroin's funny, people. I'm not saying heroin's not funny, but
It's awful.
Ralphie has a bit about comparing weed to heroin, and the bit is funny. You should go see Ralphie May.
Yeah, the heroin epidemic is like pretty strong now.
That's what.
Even
I hear that, but I don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm never.
We were in Huntsville, Alabama, talking to the cop at a club a couple months ago, and he's like, "That's like the drug of choice in Alabama now." And I'm like, man, I thought that was like 30, 40 years old.
Makes me wonder if weed was just legal. Like I don't see any reason why it's not. Then would those people still would there as many people still be pushed or go to heroin, or would they?
I would like to think not, but I mean, you're still going to have your
for sure. There's always going to be There's always going to be people doing any kind of drug, whether it's legal or illegal. But I don't know. I just feel like there wouldn't be as many, but I don't know.
Everybody just needs to get their medical card.
Yeah. It's amazingly easy to do. I haven't done it, but I've seen it done a couple of times, and just go to California and call somebody, and it'll take you about 30 minutes.
Yep.
Is that it right there? Look at that. Let me see that.
Came in the mail yesterday.
State of California. NUG MD. That's great. Medical marijuana card. That's it's like
10 minutes and $60.
That's so crazy. This thing is terribly horrible, illegal drug. You can't do it unless you go to certain areas of the country and give us some money, and then we'll let you do it.
Yeah, of course.
Makes total sense. Yeah, right.
But I mean, I really do believe it's medicine, and a lot of people that don't use it should, and a lot of people that do probably shouldn't.
That's very true.
But it's just like anything else. I mean, you can get hooked on pain pills, and I mean, pharmaceuticals.
We could go right now to the MAPCO and buy a carton of cigarettes, and then go across the street to the liquor store and buy 2 bottles of vodka and smoke
and ruin our day.
Ruin our week. We could do that perfectly legal.
Yeah,
but it's a crazy thing. I think it's just old ways of thinking that will eventually change. It just will take time.
It's medical in 29 states now.
Really?
Yeah,
is that many?
So, and recreational in 4 or 5, I think.
I wish, not even for myself, I wish that it was medical, like in Alabama, because even the CBD oil, which a lot of people don't, we know about this stuff, but a lot of people, especially they might be listening to this, don't really understand that much.
It's the miracle drug.
There's 2 parts, or there may be more parts, but from what little I understand, there's like the THC, which is the part that gets you high and is the psychoactive part, but then there's also the CBD oil part of it.
The non-psychoactive
part. You could do that, and then take some of that, and it has no effect whatsoever.
Yeah,
except for that that's what alleviates pain.
Yeah,
and
it's anti-inflammatory. Yeah, it's good for your joints. It's good for muscles, and I mean,
so my grandmother and my dad that both have really bad arthritis in different joints and parts of their body. It would be great for them. But my dad can't do it because I'm sure he probably gets drug tested or might get drug tested at work. And
well, one of our musician buddies who had been he's been in a couple car wrecks. Like, I came home with a bunch of CBD gummies one time, and and I was just like, hey man, I've got all these things that were given to me in California. So I said, why don't you try them out? I heard they're good for pain. And he was like, and he told me 2 weeks later that he would wake up every morning, have to eat 4 ibuprofen before he could even get out of bed.
Ugh.
And then wait 30 minutes. Yeah, and wait 30 minutes before he could get out of bed. And he said, I started eating those CBDs, and he's like, I haven't taken pharmaceuticals since, and I feel great. And I'm
it's a plant.
That's amazing.
It's a plant.
Yeah. It grows.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I strongly believe in the CBD aspect of it, and I mean, even I've kind of been an advocate of it for back in Georgia with some of my family members that need the stuff, and now they're like, I had so much at one time, and I've kind of given them away, and now they're like, when you gonna bring me some of them gummies? It's like, I feel like I'm a drug dealer now.
Trucking them back when you start making trips back and forth with the RV. We'll start wondering about it. But yeah, I've told my dad, and that I wish that it was possible for him to be able to try it, because I don't know, but I would think that for someone with severe arthritis that it would. Why not try it?
Yeah,
I mean, you're not gonna, you can't OD. You're not
gonna get addicted.
You're not gonna be sent straight to hell if you try.
I mean, you
try
can
some marijuana.
And so I ate some. I ate a CBD gummy on the bus one night, and just to kind of see what it was all about.
So that's like a gummy bear that has just the CBD oil part,
no THC, maybe like 0.2% THC or something, like very minuscule,
but not psychoactive.
No,
like it doesn't get you high or anything.
No, and it was basically like, so I ate it, and the wrapper was kind of ripped off of it. So I told Ralphie, I was like, this could go one of two ways. It's like it could be a real one or it could be the CBD. But it was CBD, and I mean, so I ate it and I sat there for a couple hours and watched the movie, and it was basically like the same effect of like a Percocet or some kind of
mild
pain pill. Yeah, and it just kind of mellows you out a little bit, and you can just kind of feel like everything loosening up. It's kind of weird, man.
But it's not an opiate. It's not like a pain pill you get hooked to or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I know so many people that have been hooked on pain pills, and I mean, those things are dangerous. Oh,
it's terrible. They're the worst. I don't know that much about like the heroin stuff that's going on, but I know that I've heard so much bad things about the pain pills and the pain pill problems. And
I mean, look at all the country artists that got hooked on them back in the day. They're all dead.
Yeah.
And that's bad news. And that's stuff that you can get from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
At a pharmacy. Stuff's kill you.
Last time, speaking back to the heroin thing, last time I played a show in Ohio. Sorry, Ohio. I like Ohio. It's fun. I like playing in certain places. Yeah. Columbus.
Okay. Columbus is not too bad.
Columbus is it's fine. It's cool. But there's certain areas, like in most cities, that are not the best areas to be in. And the bar we were playing at that time, this has been a couple of years ago, but the bar we were playing was in one of those areas. I think there's like a couple of strip clubs and whatever. And we were in the van before the show, and somebody knocked on the van door. We opened it. Yes, it was a lady. Didn't look the best. Didn't look like she was in the best shape of her life. And she said, "Y'all got any extra syringes?"
Extra.
Yeah, extra syringes. No,
but no,
fresh out.
all ours are accounted for.
That's Mark's syringe. This is my syringe. But we don't have any extras. I'm sorry. But no, Columbus is a lovely place.
Yeah.
It was just,
It's actually, they got the Bluestone up there, which is a great venue. I was talking to Dave this morning about that. He played there last week or something.
The Bluestone?
Yeah, it's great. It's kind of like a theater, but more just like a music venue.
Cool.
Great spot up there. Beautiful building. We've done a lot of shows in Columbus, and it's always a lot of fun. Even we've had a good time with Ralphie up there when we play the comedy club. So
is he still Ralphie? Is he still doing road stuff, or is he just at Harris now?
Yeah. So I think this new deal, I think they allowed 60 weeks in 2.5 years for him to go out and do other stuff. Like we go to Michigan.
60 weeks across that whole 2.5 years. Okay.
Like we go do a casino in Michigan end of this month, and then we got a show in Indiana. So we'll fly back here and get on the bus and go up and do that.
So you get a pretty good draw of people that come out to see him, yeah?
It's, I mean, in Vegas, I think it's a 525-seat room, and it's usually 400 plus every night.
Yeah.
And in Vegas, there's a million other places and things to do.
So many things to do, yeah.
So
what about on the road? Is it usually
the road's good. Like in comedy clubs, it's
probably different in different markets, I'm sure.
Yeah,
just like anything else.
The tickets are always good. What blows my mind is that, all right, if you as a patron, if you're going to a comedy club to go see somebody and they've got multiple shows, and they've got an early and a late show, which one would you rather go to?
My gut reaction would be the late show.
Yeah, that would be me too. But the late shows are always.
But you got to think if it's. Are these generally on the weekends, or are they throughout the week?
Usually Fridays and Saturdays when we do two shows. Do you one show on Thursday?
I guess it would depend on the clientele, because
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who, in choosing between a 7 to 9 show or a 10 to midnight show or whatever, I don't know what are the times.
Usually 7 and 9:30.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, to me, I would pick the 9:30.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are people who are like, well, I'll just go to the 7 o'clock one and be in bed by 10 or whatever, you know.
And but you got to realize people in comedy, at the first show, they're restricted on time.
Yeah.
And the second show, I mean, unless you're going to see a clean comedian, and then it's just going to be cut and dry what it is. But, I mean, if you're going to see a dirty comedian, the second show is kind of no holds barred. Like, there's no time restraints. And, I mean, I went to see Ron White years ago at the Fox in Atlanta at the Late Show. And he'd already had 2 hours to started getting sauced up. So, like, the second show I was DD. I remember I didn't even drink anything. I was driving for my uncle and aunt and my wife now. And, I mean, I was stone cold sober and rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, the late shows are always better. So people start coming to the late shows.
Yeah. Well, it's funny talking about clean versus dirty comics. Like, the dirty ones is just how people talk for the most part. Like, that's how most adults, you know, that maybe on the more extreme side of it, of course, but they're more realistic than the clean, unless you're just hanging out at Sunday school all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had a buddy of mine whose dad is a preacher, and they went to see a movie, and the language, you know, it was like a movie about Marines or something. And so they were cussing this, whatever, just like normal people talking.
Yeah.
And after the movie, my buddy's dad was like, son, it's a good movie, but I just don't know about all that language. I just don't think people really talk like that. And my buddy was like, Dad, everybody talks like that. Like, not super crazy.
Especially military people. Oh, my gosh.
But, I mean, most people, if you say shit or ass in front of them, it's just a word.
Yeah.
It's just letters put together to, you know, convey intention of what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So that's funny to me, the whole words. I remember being in first grade thinking, why can I say booty, but I can't say butt or what, you know, like, I mean, I remember vividly being in elementary school and wondering why I couldn't say shit, but I can say poop, you know? And
same thing.
Yeah. Literally the exact same thing.
Yep. Same amount of letters. Just they look different.
Yeah.
Dude,
people are crazy.
I was in West Palm Beach with Ralphie in the last year, I think, 6 months ago or so. And Ralphie's, he calls himself a destination comedian. Like, if you go see Ralphie May, you know you're going to see Ralphie May. If you just like say, I'm going to go to a comedy club tonight, and which apparently this older lady did, blue hair, Q-tip lady.
Yeah.
And I was out in the lobby about 20 minutes into the show, and she comes out there. Is the manager around? And I was like, oh God, what's going on here? And she goes, he sure did say the F word a lot. And I was just like, I just wanted to go up and like, ma'am,
ma'am,
do you know where you're at and who you're coming to see? Like, you should do a little research before you just say, I'm going to go to the comedy club.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think you're going to see? Bill Cosby? You know?
It's a rough name to bring up these days.
Very clean comedian. But until
you get behind closed doors.
There's a joke amongst the comedians where it's like, never trust a clean comedian.
Yeah. Well, I guess you never know when somebody's going to Bill Cosby it.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for Ben Ratliff?
Just back and forth to Vegas, trying to keep the wheels turning on all avenues.
Happy with where you are right now? Like,
yeah, man. It's I mean, Brent and I, every time we sit down and talk, because we're basically from the same hometown. Like, he's a little bit farther south, but every time we get together, he was out in Vegas for the ACMs, and we were sitting out by the pool, and he goes, "Man, somebody told you 2 years ago that we'd be sitting here right now."
Yeah.
I told them they'd kiss my ass.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a crazy ride, and super blessed, and trying, as Aaron Ratier says, when he got a pub deal, I'm gonna try not to fuck it up.
Yeah. Try not to fuck it up. Yeah. Do you have ultimate goal you're working toward or anything, or where does you see Ben Ratliff in 15 years or whatever?
Oh man, I would love to just travel when I want to, not travel as much.
Yeah.
And be able to afford to stay home for the most part. And I mean, I've always I grew up on a farm, so I've always man, I want to buy some land and get some cows and stuff. But then you get into the industry and you realize how much you're never at home. So you're like, that just ain't gonna work. But
I have some of those same feelings.
Yeah. So who knows, man? I mean, I would like to. I mean, I still want to keep producing records.
Happy with being on the management side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of want to take it and grow it further and keep kind of making that the main thing and
chasing dreams and self-improving and growing and learning.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep going and keep, as long as you keep your head up and don't piss people off, and everything seems to work out right.
I got a shirt a buddy of mine makes that says life is short, don't be a dick.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's a good way to live. Good motto.
Pretty simple way of terms to live by, and it goes a long way. So.
Well, cool, man. Anything you want to tell the folks? Any of the ladies out there? He's taking ladies.
Stay away from married men. Rings do plug holes. I'm just kidding.
Well, thanks so much for coming in and talking.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, brother.
We'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, brother.
And that was that. Now, while I ease the volume down here on Ben and I rocking and rolling in the background, let me talk to you for just a minute. Now, first off, I must give a disclaimer. In the podcast you just heard, I recommended that you listen to Wheeler Walker Jr. Now, before you do any such thing, if you are easily offended or you are either of any of my grandparents, please do not listen to Wheeler Walker Jr. Otherwise, please do. It's awesome. It's hilarious. Now, secondly, thanks so much to Ben for coming in and talking with me. Ben Ratliff is the man. He's a good friend of mine. And it was another super interesting story about someone's path of life in this weird thing we call life. I love it. It's great. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we talked about a lot of people and a lot of random places and things in this episode. I'm going to try to remember all of it if I can. And I will have some links for you and some information all in the show notes page that you can see and read and check out at don'tstifleme.com/014. And once again, if you have any feedback or any questions, please, I would love to read them and know them. And you can email those to jacob@don'tstifleme.com. The podcast's social medias are at DSM Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and mine are all at Jacob Stiefel on all the things, all the social media things. My music, merchandise, and tour dates, you can find all that at jacobstiefel.com. All right. Now, episode 15 is next week, and man, it was an awesome one. I had the one and only Waylon Payne, and he came by the house, and we had a great talk, picked a little guitar, and it was a good time. So make sure you hit subscribe on your device or computer or whatever, so it'll just jump right into your life next week when I upload it. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for listening. You're the best. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Good.
I'm like, Fisher, you ain't doing nothing but sitting in your garage beating on leather.
Beating on leather.
It's like,
Getting high and messing with leather.
Answer the damn phone.